morning. It's Tuesday, June 27th, 2023. My name is Terry Morgan. We are here to practice Wudang Dragon Sword. We have some new moves we're working on this week. I have a little bit of announcement. So first of all, I'm late again for class. Not good thing, right? But I'm trying to focus on, okay, so, and here's the lesson from that, before we get started with the movements. Do I focus on this not good thing over here, which I did have to focus on for a bit. I did have to focus on it for a minute. I did. Do I continue to focus on it? Don't really want to. I don't. What would I rather do? Oh, I have this new book that is now available on Kindle and will be available for print probably later today. I'd rather focus on that and the new podcast and some of the other things that I'm doing and some of the other things that are positive that, might have a positive impact on somebody as opposed to negative, right? That decision, okay, it's a decision, it's a personal decision. What am I going to focus on? What am I going to pay attention to? Now, sometimes you just have to pay attention to this. Sometimes you have to. Do you want to? No. All right, now, when you're in a situation that you can do what you want, that you don't have to pay attention to the negative stuff, that there's something positive that you want to do. Do you, this is the choice, continue to pay attention to the negative stuff or start to transfer and transform that energy into something positive? Okay? That's me. Hi. Alright, that effort is something that I have worked on repeatedly over, too many years. That to take something that's negative, to take the emotion, the energy, because there's energy that goes with, the autoimmune response, the adrenaline, to take that and transform it so that instead of focusing on, right? I didn't want to say it. Instead of this destructive thing over here, instead of take that away, take that energy, take a step away, and now what can I do instead of paying attention to that? What can I do next? What can I do with that effort, that energy, that adrenaline, the autoimmune response, right? What do I do with that? Positive things. I did a couple things around the house to put some things in order, and that helps to not only put things in order, calms me down, right? So when I was a kid, picture puzzles, put the pieces of puzzle together, right? That activity, putting things in order, also works on my creative side. So I have in putting a few things away in the house, I've also set up a few things for this morning so that that print version of the book could be available later today. It's probably going to take me a few hours to finish it up, but that's my goal. Getting that done and putting the promotional activities in place to make it available and syndicated around the world. We're live on pretty much everywhere. So if you want to find us, the ambassador. And if you're looking, best option is the ambassador, and put in Wudang Research Association, and that way you'll connect, because there's a lot of opportunities for just the ambassador. It's a generic title, it's supposed to be, and I'm going to talk about that for a second. Hang on. It has a lot to do with what I teach in these classes. So this idea of taking the negative, figuring out how to transform it into something that's positive. For me, one of the ways that I do that is through writing. Been doing that since I was a little kid. Another way that I do that is through practice and teaching. Right? If I've got this physical response going on, well, I probably need to do something physical. Right? Feet about shoulder width apart, hands circle to the front. Back around to both sides, up along the center line. And reach out. Something physical, right? Now, I'm going to keep talking. I would like to do a little bit more, but I need to stretch first. Again, keep shoulders down, open, and roll up. Elbows drop down, wrists, hands return to your sides. Leg stretch. That sense of understanding, and open that up a little bit, that sense of understanding that what I might want to do is, okay, drop the shoulders physically, and what my body is prepared to do, those need to be carefully considered. Right? So if I have watch where the knee position, under knee position in the front. Yeah. Alright, other side. If I have a response, that adrenaline response, my body will do what I decide it's going to do. It pretty much does. Alright, that ability is part of training. Sink and come on up. That is part of training. So if I say, I'm not moving, I'm not going to go anywhere. I just stand here. That's it. If I decide I'm going to move, depending on circumstance, I'm going to leave or I'm going to enter. Depends. That sense of placement, that do I need to take some action? Do I need to move? Right? Am I going to move? Different question. That's a different question. That decision, is it better for me to just stand here? Not do anything. Is it better for me to make it apparent that I'm willing to fight? Hi. This one's the one you want to worry about over here, not this one. Okay? Not this one. You can worry about this one if you want. But this is the one you should worry about over here. It doesn't look like much, does it? It's not supposed to. Not supposed to. That sense of, are you sure? Has to be, for me, has to be part of that consideration for what might I do next, right? And that's, again, particularly true if I have adrenaline and there's something going on that I am that I have to deal with. I can't not deal with it. I have to do something. I have to leave. I have to deal with it. What are my choices? Adrenaline says that's the fight or flight, right? Either I'm going to leave or I've got to do something. What can I do? Practice. Practice. That sense of, that's why I just did the warm-up, right? Because we're going to practice. That sense of, when I'm practicing, I get it. Sip here. I know, I'm talking too much this morning, but it's alright. It's alright. It's a hard lesson, sorry. That sense of, when I practice, what am I doing? Right? If we're working with the fight or flight mechanism, the instinct should be to protect, not to attack. It's not that it's not there. It's there. But that instinct to say, let me protect. Protect is part of that move. Attack is also part of that move. That combination is something that I learned in my training, that the initial, and this comes from my Tai Chi training as well as even the Shaolin training that I had from Professor Liu, and probably even more so, that the initial response is just, hey, no, don't, just, right? That's backed up by, and I told this story before, that's backed up by the idea that, well, you know, there could be a different response if you prefer. You know, I'm not limited to backing up here. That sense that the effort is to say, just, yeah, first, and then to look at what might be required. If that's not enough, what else is possible? Well, taking that, I don't want this, I want to leave, effort and energy as a first response, as a way to start. Okay, now what? How do I develop the skill to internalize that? Because we're talking about the internal arts in particular now. We're also talking about a physical and a psychological effort. So how do I internalize that? And then use it in my practice. How do I apply it in my practice? What do I do with that? Well, stronger, more forceful movement is going to be part of what happens. So warming up carefully. I'm going to go through this. I'm going to warm up a little more carefully. And paying attention to the idea that you have a reserve that you rarely will tap without some outside stimulus, depending on what that might be. It's not something that you're going to intentionally trigger. Once you have it, what do you do with it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. A little bit extra on the 7 and 8. So, here, excuse me, and 1, 2. No, I tried to do that several times, and that is just not the correct move. Okay, so now from here, down, in, right? Different combination. Very similar to some of the things that we've done before, and it should be. It should be. All right? That sense of familiarity is something that we want to develop so that as we're moving, we get comfortable. We want to get comfortable. Yeah, I'm going to get uncomfortable in a minute, but all right, that opportunity for movement, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Yeah, I count differently. I'm sure that there are, I'm probably going to give it a little bit different again in a minute. So each movement, I talked about this the other day, each movement, 1, 2, 3, maybe. I talked about this yesterday too. I just did this. What happened? Right? I just did this. And it'll look like that. Just like that. That was That was correct. Why did I stop halfway through the first couple of moves? I got stuck. I'm good here. Fine. Hey, not a problem. Oh, wait a minute. Yes, that's correct. No step. Now step and down. That distinction, to take a step, to not take a step, gives me, again, for me, this is my own correction, this gives me, wait a minute, that's where I need to be sure which of the next movements I'm going to do. Right? We have just before we jump. So from here, down, in, slice up, around and in. Here, slice up, go to the outside, in and down. And I'm exaggerating that. The exaggerated move and the faster move with a twist. That distinction, here's the pattern, here's what we're doing. Come in. I'm going to the outside. Here, I need to shift back first, right? Come back to go to the outside. And don't be off balance, right? Don't be off balance. So, here, inside. This one goes to the outside, all right. So, I'm here, outside comes to the inside. I'm here, inside goes to the outside. To the outside. This one comes to the inside. That distinction makes a difference in how we turn the waist, makes a difference in how we move through, how the sword moves, makes a difference in what we're actually doing with the sword. They're similar. Yeah, but they're different. All right? Both require this turn and twist through the waist. Both require being connected through the sword. And both require paying attention to which direction am I going, right? I'm here, up, right? That connection through each of the movements, that dynamic, is part of what we're doing in this set. It's taking all the things that I talked about and pretty much putting them all together, right? So, one, two, down, in. Set. One, two, down, in. Make sure that as your hand comes up, you lock your arm so that you have strength as you come down. This isn't a very strong, to move the sword in this direction, it's not an incredibly strong position for a human arm. Okay, it's not. Doesn't matter how much you've got bulked up here. It doesn't matter. This is not a strong position. Alright? This is stronger. It is. You can try for yourself. Alright, that sense of placement and position. What makes this stronger? My hand is set against the arm. In this case, I'm pretty close to my elbow. I could be out here at my wrist. It's stronger here. That with a little bit of turn through the waist, right? As we come down. That twist. Yeah, you can start here. 1, 2, yeah. Everything goes. It's not a delicate movement. It's not intended to be. It's not. Being able to connect the outer movement, so all of the muscles, so that you are well positioned and using strength. Being able to connect all of the internal movement so that the waist and the lower dantian drive the physical movement, and the breath is connected, the physical breath is connected through each movement along with the internal breath, the chi, that's connected through everything and helps carry the energy, jing, through the movement. That sense of mindfulness and the application of intent. What's my goal? What am I trying to do? I'm not being kind. I'm not. I'm looking for that inner strength, that sense that I'm grounded, I'm well placed, that everything is well connected so that I can summon through my breathing, through my intent, what I'm trying to do, that I can summon all of the strength, all of the effort, all of the muscles, all of the tendons and ligaments. I can do the movement, and I can summon my strength to do that. I can do that at will. I want to be able to do that. I don't want it to be just a reaction. So I want to be able to do that. How do I do that? Well, you take advantage, I'm taking advantage of that negative to transform it. Alright, so and do that from over here. Pay attention to my waist and my shoulders and the lower part of my leg down here. Pay attention to that more than the sword. One more time. That, that was good. It was good. That recognition matters too, okay? It does matter. That placement, position, level of effort, my expectation for what I was doing, all present, all there. And one move. Now, am I going to do that type of movement for every movement in the form? No. No. Why? Because it's not smooth. It doesn't connect. It stops. It stops. And it does not give me the extension that I get by continuing. Each of the sets that I'm giving has the bigger set and the smaller sets in between, right? It has some continuity to it, and it gives us that ideal sense of how to move with and through each of the postures rather than static stopping. That stop gives me the opportunity to summon everything I've got for that one movement. I could do that with a different movement and practice that. That type of practice gives us strength that we would not have if we don't do it. Right? It's really that simple. You get what you put in. If you don't put it in, you're not going to get it back. So that sense of right? I'm still going. Whether or not I'm perfect, the first few moves were all right. That was all right. It's okay. That placement, direction, you probably would not have wanted to be in my path at that particular moment in time. I'm going. I'm going through. All right? That sense, more than how much strength, what application, what's this, what's that, that sense of I'm fully connected, I can use that extension, I can use what I have, and I can add strength the same as we want to build in Shenyi, the same as we want to build in the internal work in Tai Chi and in Bagua, the same as we train for in Shaolin. It's all that can I just stand here? Yeah, that's. And then what does it take physically and internally, as well as mentally, intellectually, what does it take to bring everything you've got to the movement? What do you have to do? Which it's different for everybody, so what do you have to do to completely focus everything you're doing on just this movement, keeping in mind all of the things that go with? What do you have to do? What do you have to do? I'm going to stop with that for today. That sequence, and I'll come back and do it again the other way tomorrow and slow it down a little bit. That is reasonably well placed. Could I do a couple of things just a little bit different? Yeah, but it wouldn't change much. That sense of, yeah, that was it. Alright? Now, could I bring more strength to a couple of moves? Yeah, could. Could I pay attention a little bit more to how my footwork is contributing to what I can do with the sword? Yes, I could. Could I make it a little bit smoother and a little bit more discreet? I could. Was that pretty good? It was. All of that matters, right? It's practice. And once again, I'm going to go back to where I was at the beginning, right? Negative stuff. What can I do? Do I have to deal with it? Can I leave, or do I have to deal with it? Because I don't want it. What can I do? If I'm far enough away from it, and I'm moving away, right? I'm taking a step, I'm moving away. If I'm far enough away from it, now I don't have to deal with it anymore. Now I don't have to, right? I can think about, do I want to keep thinking about that, or do I want to think about something else? Well, no, I don't want to think about that. I want to think about something else. So, got class started. And that process of being able to move away a little bit, being able to decide, no, I don't want to deal with that. I want to do this other thing that is positive. This is a whole negative thing. I don't want this whole negative thing over here. It's negative. I don't want it. I want a positive thing. Give me a positive thing. Sword practice this morning. Some of the things that I did are same thing yesterday. Some of the things that I did are my practice. I'm going to say it that way. This is my practice. And I'm sharing that. I hope that it helps anybody who's watching to understand both the process and what can be the result. Okay. So if I wasn't trying to use this negative energy to inform my movements, I wouldn't have the same level of strength. I wouldn't. That understanding is fundamental to understanding what we do in all of the martial arts. It's also fundamental to understanding how we can use that energy and how we can change it, transform it into something that we actually want. All right, so like I said, I write and I teach and I practice, and there are so many opportunities for taking that negative and making something positive out of it if we only know how to do it. I'm good at a couple techniques. I can do a few things. It's not, and it's not, there's tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, probably millions of people who can do the same or better. Okay, so it's not unique to me. It's discipline and making sure that you decide, what am I going to pay attention to right now? How am I going to look at the world? How am I going to look at things? What do I want to accomplish? Do I want to tear something down? Do I want to build something? Clean house. Yeah, clean house. Make room for some new things. I hope that some of my rambling today has been informative and useful. It is something that belongs to my long-term practice. It's part of the philosophy that comes with everything that I've learned. It's not something that's separate. It's not it's part of how we manage and how we develop our internal selves and our internal workmanship. Thank you for being here. I appreciate it. I'll be back tomorrow.